Hi everybody, let me make sure I'm live over here. The right one. Is that the right one? Yes. Why is this so big? Let's make sure. Okay, you can definitely hear me. I think my sound is up way high because I have to put it up way high when I talk to Scooter. Way high. Okay. She's gonna be like, stop it. Okay. Anyway, let me get over here. So today we have three different things. We have Nick Reiner, which I'm going to do first because it's real short. It was a very short hearing. I'm going to do him first. And then we have KOURI Richins' first day. So we have opening statements and everything about that. So if you watched the body cam and all of that, you'll see that. And I have a surprise. Here's the big surprise. Let me put this on because my lips are so dry. I'm going to be, well, for the best of intentions, we're going to be streaming the trial tomorrow. I was given the stuff from the court, so I have my link to do that. And it should be starting at 10:30 Eastern time. And so we'll have that up so you can watch the trial here with us, and you can chat in the chat with us, and you won't have any of the, if you tend to watch it, I have to turn the chat off on a lot of things because you have a lot of people that don't know anything about a trial, or they're just there to like just scream out, she's innocent, they scream out stupid things. Hi Sandra, hi Tree Dog. So before I end this, after I end this, I'll try to get the live scheduled with the thumbnail for tomorrow morning. Okay, that's what we're planning on doing. So yeah, that'll be good. And then hopefully it'll capture some people that are watching KOURI Richins and want to discuss it. Okay, so that'll be good because I think we're kind of getting Nancy Guthrie out. And today, I think the biggest thing that happened in Nancy Guthrie today is that the mainstream media and stuff finally got a hold and said that picture of the perpetrator, whatever you want to call him, the suspect, let's call him the suspect, without the backpack, is believed to be from January 11th. And that's what Criminal Network, High Criminal Network, came in here and told us the other day. So, yeah, now they're saying that it was from another time. That's what they're saying. You know what? I don't know. There's really not much going on that front at all. I do have a correction to make, but it's about a prayer vigil. Allegedly? No, not allegedly. There was one. There was one on February 4th at Nancy Guthrie's, let me see exactly how they said that, because Nancy Guthrie, see, here's the thing. If they say it's at Nancy Guthrie's church, but then we hear Nancy Guthrie doesn't go to that church. She watches a live stream from her daughter's church in New York, is what we heard. So, again, a lot of misinformation. So I think it's just a church in Nancy Guthrie's neighborhood, community. And they had about 400 people, 500 people. The family did not attend. According to all the information that I gathered, the family did not attend. It was also the day that the family posted that video where they were all sitting on the couch, the first one of them together, that same day. So it was a candlelight vigil at a church. Family did not attend. And that's the only one, I believe. And thank you to Kubi for bringing that to my attention. But the family did not attend. And I'll say that again. Her family did not attend. Do I think that's strange? You betcha. Okay. That's my prerogative. Let's see. So let's take a quick look at Nick Reiner, okay? Nick Reiner, he looked like he was wearing a burlap sack or something. He looked... I know he's probably trying to look like that, or they're trying. His lawyer, she was standing next to him, and behind him they had a bunch of, like, it looked like what my father would call visqueen, but it's like that clear vinyl or something behind them. Like, I don't know, they thought somebody, I don't know what it was for. It looked like it was under construction. I don't know what. But yeah, I saw that, and then what was the other thing that I saw that was strange? I'm trying to think. The lawyer, his lawyer looked like she was not happy, and I thought, wow, what a change, right? You have someone like so high profile, like Alan Jackson, and then you have a lawyer that looks like she doesn't even want to be there. And can you blame her, really? Probably not. But yeah. Anyway, they told him that he had the right to have a speedy hearing, and hold on, let me get over here. I'm trying to get an image up for you guys. So let me just get this up. Okay. So he pled not guilty in the deaths of his parents, Rob and Michelle. They were found stabbed to death at their home on December 14th. He's 32 years old. He appeared in Los Angeles Superior Court. He spoke only once, when he agreed to a future court date of April 29th. That's when she told him, look, you know, you can, your rights say that you can get a speedy, it's going to be expedited within 10 days, or you can wait and have something on April 29th if that's okay with you. So he waived his right to the expedited. Let's see, they didn't make any mention of his mental state at all. His head was shaved. And they are still in the process of trying to decide whether they're going to seek the death penalty. And that's the District Attorney, Nathan Hochman. He said his office is still in the process of making that decision. He reversed his predecessor's moratorium on seeking execution, and said the veteran prosecutors with death penalty experience will be involved in the decision. He said he expected that a preliminary hearing in this case will be delayed due to the volume of evidence. And Judge Sam Ota was assigned to handle the case going forward. Reiner, is being held without bail in the Twin Towers Correctional Facility in downtown Los Angeles. And let's see what else we got. That's it. That's all that happened today. We watched it here in Zoom. It was all of about 5 minutes. So we're done with Reiner. His preliminary hearing and stuff will be April 29th. And we'll see what happens then. Next, let's do a quick perusal of Nancy Guthrie. Then we're going to go into KOURI Richins. Then I'll go back before we're done with and do another Nancy Guthrie, even though there's really nothing much happening in Nancy Guthrie at all. Tell you what. Where's my notes over here in Guthrie? Okay. Pima County Sheriff actually refuted the rumors. They clarified the images are being circulated are old, and the theory of the suspect visiting the house multiple times is purely speculative. So he's saying it's purely speculative. Other newscasters saying it's older, possibly January 11th. That's why they asked for that footage, okay? So he's not saying it's wrong. It's just weird. And there's also that now discrepancy where I told you last night that he misspoke about something, making it again January 31st, which people were going crazy about saying that with that report from Adult Protective Services, right? Saying that, oh. Okay. But we are going to just take a quick look here. Doorbell images captured on a separate date. The FBI released Nancy Guthrie's doorbells captured on a separate date. That's what it's a buzz today about the separate date, because Jimmy goes, oh, you're right about what you said that guy told you, whatever, because that's what's getting out there, while the sheriff says it's purely speculative. So let's see, someone said, they already asked and asked again, canvassed again. They said it was about Nancy Guthrie. That should be enough. They're not going to jeopardize what they know for YouTube streamers. And it just said, investigators now requesting the video footage from January 11th between 9 p.m. and midnight. Also, the 31st between 9:30 and 11 a.m. for a suspicious vehicle on Via Entrada, right? And then I told you about the prayer vigil. They still have not released this stuff from the Nest cams. So, and now people are going back to Savannah's video and saying that, is she speaking to the sister and brother? Why is she alone in that last video she did? And that she had they're saying it was a disgusted tone. 42 minutes ago, they're putting viral fake news posts that Nancy was found, and there's just so much. It's so crazy. Let's see. It's believed to have been at the front door earlier than February 1st. Okay. Date and timestamps are embedded in the Nest camera videos, but they are not burned directly onto the image. So that's really what the internet's abuzz about, and we have already heard that before. Now, coming from the sheriff, here's what he said. I shot the sheriff. Okay. But I did not shoot the deputy. Get over here. Where did you go? This is what I wanted to bring over. We are aware that the doorbell images released earlier in the investigation depict a suspect in different stages of attire, including with and without a backpack. There is no date or timestamp associated with these images. Therefore, any suggestion that the photographs were taken on different days is purely speculative. This remains an active and ongoing criminal investigation. As with any investigation, conclusions will be guided by verifiable evidence and established facts. Speculation without factual support does not advance the investigative process. But tons of reliable news outlets say the person visited the house prior to the abduction. And then Pima County Sheriff says, nah, not true. So you decide, okay? You decide what you want. And of course, these are the two images that we're talking about right here. Okay? So, now, here's the thing. Here's the question I have, right? If these happened days before, and did Nancy not check her camera? Did her camera not alert that there was someone on her camera that was picked up? Did this person not worry that Nancy would see them on the camera? What happened? Right? Did Nancy report anything to her family prior to being not being heard from again since? Because that's weird. If that did happen on January 11th, I keep saying February 11th. January 11th. Well, why wouldn't she have seen it? Because even if she didn't have a subscription, I think it would still give her an alert, wouldn't it? I don't know. What do you think about that one? Why didn't she see it then? If she had seen it, do you know now, right? Had her family made sure, okay, you don't want to lay a guilt trip on people, but okay, had Nancy had her subscription, would she have seen this person there? Most likely, right? It would give her an alert. Don't you think so? So, hi Terry K. What do you think about that? Who here has something to think about that? If Nancy if Nancy had the camera, subscription to the Nest, I've got to put my phone on the charger. Hang on a minute. And I'm going to get some more ice and some seltzer. Please tell me. Answer that for a minute, and I'll be right there. I just want to put my phone on the charger. But let me know. Where's this? Ruby red tangerine. Okay. What was the question? The question was, since it is pretty clear through what's being reported now, that one image was captured prior to the night that Nancy was taken. If Nancy had her subscription, and I think I'm questioning, even if Nancy didn't have her subscription, would Nest have told her there was somebody there? And if she, I'm going to check that out right now. But would she have been protected if the person came to the door before? Let's see. If you have a Nest camera, I can't type today. I need my glasses bad. With no subscription, will it alert you if someone comes to your door? And it says, yes, a Google Nest camera or doorbell camera will alert you when someone comes to your door without a subscription. You will receive real-time notifications for motion and visitor presses, along with 3 hours of event video history. But you will miss advanced features like familiar face alerts, package detection, or long-term video storage. So, depending on when this guy came, she would have gotten alerts, and then did she check that? Or did she just not even have, I don't know. So what do you think about that? You think Nancy saw this guy? You think her family knew about it? What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? There's a heart made wise. I don't think you will get an alert. I just read it, heart. I just read it. Why didn't Nancy have a life alert necklace or watch? It might have saved her life. Exactly. I don't know why didn't Nancy's kids go to her vigil? Why don't Nancy's kids go to the mother's house where these people are bringing all those flowers and everything and see that those flowers have water, thank the people, maybe do a small video from there. Why doesn't Savannah do an Instagram video? Thank you so much for bringing all this stuff for my mother. I'm telling you, I don't think... I think, I know. I see what the public is saying now. And it's not good. Okay, it's over 3 weeks now. And she's asked the public, she's brought the public into this. So why doesn't she thank the public? I just don't understand it. Why not go down and thank the public? It's not that she's, where's her brother? Where's his sister? Why aren't they at their house? If the mother isn't found for months. Is Annie just going to abandon her house? She's going to be able to run 2 households? She's going to run away from life? Most people don't have the luxury to run away from life when something happens, right? They still have to go to a job. If they don't go to a job, their families are going to be in severe trouble. So Tommaso's not working. Is he? Is he working at the school? Annie's not working. How are their bills getting paid? Savannah supporting them? Seriously, this is a serious question. They have some GoFundMe to pay their bills. Because most people don't get to check out of life when something happens. They have to just keep putting one foot in front of the other and going on. Savannah has a lot of money. So she's either going to end up footing the bill for everybody. That means paying her bills, paying all Annie and Tommaso's bills. Who's paying for that big house they're staying in? What about Annie's son? He's not going to go to his school anymore? I mean, I don't know. Nancy will write books. I don't think she'll go back to the NBA. Yeah, I said that to you yesterday about writing books. But is she going to pay her sister's bills forever? That's weird. And is Tommaso's school just going to... Is he working or not? Let's see if we can find that out. And why don't they go back to their house? I don't understand why they don't go back to their house. See, they just said that Tommaso was in the Olympics and he was here and he was there and he's never been seen. I don't know. But what is he really doing? He has been employed as a teacher. Okay. Let's see here. I just don't understand how they're not having to get back to life. What if they, and people are asking too, what about all these news? I mean, I'm talking about the regular news, talking about the things like Fox. Are they just going to stay camped out indefinitely in front of Nancy's house, or are they going to start moving it along? There's already a loss of interest in the live streams. The live streamers are mentioning it. Every day there's less and less people in there. Because what's really happening? In the early days, people were excited something was going to break and this and that. And now, there's really not much happening, right? So, I'm just wondering. How long are they going to stay in seclusion? And for what reason? Why are they in seclusion? But we're going to be talking about KOURI Richins next. Because, and then I'll cycle back to Nancy at the end. But KOURI Richins, I want to get into that right now. And I have, hang on. Now where's my, did I put it here? Hang on. I think I put it in my folder over here. I wanted to read to you her prenuptial agreement. Let me pull it up here. So if you're not familiar with KOURI Richins, today was the first day of the trial. And here's the prenup. So this agreement was made on the 15th day of June, 2013, by and between Eric Eugene Richins, herein husband, and KOURI Brock Darden, herein wife. Section 1. Recitals. Contemplation of marriage. The parties to this agreement are contemplating marriage, but are, as of this date hereof, unmarried. Disclosure by husband. Husband has substantially disclosed to the wife the nature, extent, and the value of his property interest, including without limitation his present and potential income from various sources, and including without limitation his business and investment interests. Disclosure by wife. Wife has substantially disclosed to husband the nature, extent, and the value of her property, including interest, including without limitation her present and potential income from various sources, and including without limitation her business and investment interests. Mutual agreement. For good and valuable consideration, including without limitation the contemplated marriage of the parties and the mutual promises contained in this agreement, the parties here define the respective rights of each in certain property, assets, and liabilities that each may have or will have hereafter acquire. So future property, income, or assets. The parties acknowledge to each other that each does not now have, possess, or claim any right or interest in the present or future income, property, or assets of the other, including but not limited to the business known as C&E Stone Masonry LLC. That's Eric's business. Said business is owned in partnership between husband and a third party. Wife shall have no right or claim to the business, including its value, its assets, and its accounts receivable, whether existing at the time of the marriage or to come into existence after the parties' marriage, except that if the husband should die prior to the wife, while the two are lawfully married, husband's partnership interest in said business shall transfer to the wife. Requirement of marriage. If the parties shall be married, the rights with respect to the property owned by either of them at the time of the contemplated marriage or acquired during the marriage shall be subject to the terms of this agreement. However, if for any reason, and regardless of fault, the parties do not marry, then this agreement shall be void. Okay, business property to remain husband's separate property. Separate property of the husband. The parties foresee that following the date of the marriage, commingled marital funds may, from time to time, be spent or invested in the business C&E Stone Masonry. Now, did you read that? Commingled marital funds may from time to time be spent or invested in his business. The parties agree that C&E Stone Masonry LLC shall nevertheless remain the sole property of the husband. So they're saying even if some of the money that KOURI earns ends up going into his business. She has no part of it. None. The expenditure of commingled marital funds on said business shall not give wife a claim or right to an interest in said business or after the separate ownership of said business, except that if the husband should die prior to the wife, while the two are lawfully married, husband's partnership interest in said business shall transfer to the wife. Section 3. Waiver of marital rights in separate property. Except as otherwise set forth in this agreement, the wife agrees to release and relinquish all right, claim, and interest, whether actual or contingent in law and equity, that she may acquire in the separate property of the husband known as C&E Stone Masonry LLC by reason of the contemplated marriage, including, without limitation, equitable distribution, widow's allowance, right of election to take against the estate of the deceased spouse, distribution. Okay, this goes on and on and on. Let's see here. Right to make and take gifts. So the relinquishment, surviving spouse or heir at law provides by the statutes of partner may live and die domiciled in which they may own real property. So she's going to right of election to take against the estate of the deceased spouse. That's interesting. Right to make and take gifts. The foregoing waiver, however, shall not affect the rights of the parties to make testamentary or inter vivos gifts to each other, or to receive any gift which either may choose to make to the other by valid will or otherwise. Each remains free to make any disposition in favor of the other which could be made in the absence of this agreement. No such gift shall constitute an amendment in whole or part of this agreement without a written addendum to this agreement signed by both parties before a notary public. The parties acknowledge that they have had a full opportunity to consult with an attorney. Okay, so they're saying we know this, they have full understanding of the terms, yada, yada, yada. And then choice of law, this agreement and all rights, liabilities of the parties shall be subject and governed by the substantive laws of the state of Utah. Severability, if this provision of this agreement or this application thereof shall for any reason and to any extent be invalid or unenforceable, the remainder of this agreement and the application of such provision to other persons or circumstances shall not be affected thereby, but rather shall be enforced to the maximum extent permissible under applicable law. And that this agreement will be binding. Okay, titles, waiver. Okay, so that was her prenup. They signed it in Camas, Eric, KOURI. Okay, so then they put his assets. His business, $2 million, $2.5 million, a forklift, $25,000, a skidster, $15,000, scaffolding and saws, $50,000, 2 trucks, $90,000, a Dodge dump trailer, $55,000. This is the summary of assets and debts of the wife. Doesn't look like she's got a whole lot, right? Okay. Exhibit C, future separate property of the parties. So it's really, he's protecting his business, his significant separate property right here. Now, let me see here. There is the state. So they had him making like the last income they showed for him was $750,000 from the stone masonry business. And let me move this over here for 1 second because I want to see something. Okay, we're going to go back to that in a sec. Move this for a minute. Okay, so you watched, B Lady says, I watched KOURI trial today. Eric was controlled by his sister, in my opinion, aka his family controlled his marriage. And you're laughing. Why are you laughing? She's laughing. I don't know. So what does that mean, though, B Lady, that you're laughing? If I had been KOURI, I would have not married Eric, or I would have left that family soon afterwards. Okay? Because he makes you sign a prenup that you're not entitled to his business? Is that why? All of that stuff he had before he met KOURI. I don't know. U.S. citizens are stuck in Mexico and threatened. Oh, we'll take a look at that. So now they are saying this person was there. Yes, this person was there for days. Oh, Raven West is here. Hi, Raven. What's up with you tonight? Or maybe they don't want to go back to the house until they feel secure. What's up with Raven? Let me see. Maybe they don't want to go back to their house until they feel secure. And say, well, Savannah's children don't live. Savannah's children don't live at Tommaso's house. No, because he discussed his sex life with his sister. Okay, maybe he's exceptionally close to his sister. I don't think that means he has control of his marriage. I think that just means they have, she said they were 2 years apart and they were very, very close. I don't know. I did watch the sister testify, I did. How she went to the car and the cop about her thoughts about KOURI because someone should know. Yeah. I saw it. I saw they also caught her in some lies, right? They caught her that she wasn't telling them that KOURI, who was faking, okay? I thought something was strange, okay? KOURI was not crying at all. Now, there's, listen to me. Had KOURI been in shock, it would be one thing. But KOURI was trying to cry, and she wasn't crying. It was fake. Okay? She was trying to cry because she thought that's what she should be doing. And when probably KOURI, if this truly was a shock and not that she had murdered her husband, right? She probably would have been in intense shock and would not have even been crying either, but she would have been in shock. But instead, okay, this is what a guilty person does. She thinks that, oh my goodness, my husband's died. I better start crying because that's what I think I'm supposed to be doing. So she's holding her. They're always trying to shield their face. Every time. No, did you watch the trial, B-Lady? Did you watch the body camera? Did you watch the body camera footage, if you watch the body camera footage, she is trying so hard to cry, but she can't cry, but she won't stop. So she's pretending that she's crying. And every time she takes her hands away from her face, it's obvious she's not crying. So she sounds like a little kid trying to fake cry. And then there was a strange scene with the sister, because the sister went outside to tell the cops what she was doing. I'm everything. I'm his everything. I'm his everything. I'm his trustee. I'm his everything. And then in comes her husband. Now, something you have to know about Mormons, okay? Now, the reason people remember Jody Hildebrandt, okay? And Jody Hildebrandt catered to counseling to these Mormon women. And a lot of the women, their households are run by the men, right? They say the women don't have this power. Well, Jody gave the women the power. Okay, and if you watch any documentaries on this, you'll know what happened, okay? She called out their husbands. She said their husbands all had porn addictions. They all had this, they all had that. They had to do this, they had to move out of the house. And the women became really aggressive for the first time. Now, KOURI seems like she is that way. The sister seems like she's already that way too, because when her husband comes up, she didn't get her two little girls out. The husband got the two little girls out, and he is coming up to the door. She's hyperventilating to the cop, right? You go back and watch this. And then the husband comes up and she stops completely and goes, "Take the girls upstairs." I'm sorry. I'll give her some, like, did she think that she was in shock and that was what she was supposed to do? I don't know. It was weird. It was very weird. Okay? It was weird. And the fact that her brother, she just found out her brother is dead. Her brother, who she's so close to, right? She's out there telling the cop, "I'm his everything. I'm his trustee. I'm this, I'm that, I'm this." She is also the person who goes into the little boys' rooms and takes the little boys. And when she goes in the house, she goes, "Where are my boys?" That's what she said. "Where are my boys?" She has two little girls. "Where are my boys?" Goes into the room and gets them. And brings them upstairs. Or I don't know if KOURI's mother took them upstairs. Now, KOURI's mother is there. KOURI's mother is Scooter. We just watched this again for a second time in Zoom. Okay? Hi, Colleen Ann. KOURI's mother was sitting, really far from her. She kind of gave her a little touch on the shoulder. "Carolyn, sorry I just came in, so I missed you talking about Nancy's case, but I have a question about Nancy with the Ring camera." "Yes, go ahead." "No, go ahead. Go ahead, Ellie Mae. You can ask me." She gives her a little touch, and then she pulls away. Now, there's also another thing, right? They have this cute little dog. I feel so sorry for this dog. I feel so sorry for the kids. Everything they've known. Like, when I look at these things and I think, oh my gosh, these are the real victims here, right? In this. She just did what she wanted to do to move on with her life. These kids have lost their father. They're going to lose their home. They're going to lose their sense of security at such a young age, right? That's something you'll carry with you for the rest of your life. It'll affect you in every single relationship, no matter how much therapy you have, because your foundation is rocked to the core, right? We have things that happen when people lose a parent, heart attack or something happens, right? And they lose their parent. But now we have someone that is taking out their parent. So now their father, who from everything we've heard lived for these boys, is taken. Just one day he's there, boom, he's gone. So that's not the only thing. Now their mother's taken. And not only that, their mother may have killed their father. So we've got all that going on. Everything they had before is gone. And even the dog, I felt sorry for the dog. They said that he used to sleep with the dog. It's like, and this little dog, he was so cute. He went around and she was doing like these hands. She was trying, and her legs, okay, she either looked like she had taken half a bottle of Adderall, or she was trying to make it appear that she was shaking. Okay? So while this guy is banging, isn't it Tringer? Maybe got out of bed. Yeah, you would think it would be. I don't know, Ellie Mae. A lot of it is so strange. Okay, so see, I think you're mistaken, B lady. I think this happened after with the sister, after he was almost poisoned and thought that his wife did this, after they had severe marital issues to the point that the sister was involved in trying, to find a counselor, to find a divorce lawyer. So they knew that there were issues, okay? There were issues. Kouri was having an affair. I don't know that he knew that, but there were big problems in the marriage. Okay, so Kouri is Colleen. She is. Kouri sat in that courtroom today, right? And they played the 911 call. She had no emotion with the 911 call. Now, we saw Banfield. A lot of these people that have murdered their spouses, they try, okay? They really try to think, oh boy, they're going to play that 911 call. This better be emotional for me. I better start to cry or try to cry, right? And they're picking at their eyes. You see them. They're always, watch these people. Monica, hi Ken. Monica Sementali, she did it in court. They almost stick their fingers in their eyes. Anything to make their eyes water. They take the tissues and they jab them in their eyes. So she didn't do that. She just sat there. And then they showed pictures of her kids. I thought, okay, well, this is going to get to her, right? So this is where I'm telling you, we're dealing probably with a psychopath here. Because, as I told you, and I wish I could bring that. psychopath doesn't even feel love for their children. Okay? They go through the motions. Anyway, they bring up her kids. You think there'd be any emotion? She kept doing this smirk like this. I can't even do it like she would bite. It was like she bit the side of her cheek and she made this smirk. And then at one time, she actually had to stop herself from laughing. At the very end, when that attorney Ramos was up there, if you watched the trial, correct? Did you watch the trial? B lady, you watched the trial today, correct? You saw her sitting there, correct? Yeah, this guy was everybody's talking about this attorney, right? Well, he was hammering one of the first responders, the law enforcement first responders, and he was hammering the guy. And at one point, she goes like, she laughs. I'll try to get a screenshot of it. She laughs. And she has to, she has to pull her, try to get her composure, pull herself together, because she's laughing. How are you laughing? Your freaking life is on the line, Most people would be a freaking nervous wreck. Your life is on the line. Okay? It was insane. And do you know she was looking up prisons, luxury prisons for the wealthy and stuff? We'll get to that. But her life's on the line. And, she's just, that's okay. All right, well, whatevs. It's crazy. So, yeah, life's on the line. Kouri's life's on the line. So then opening statements. The prosecutor got up. He said that these two got married and Kouri wasn't happy and she thought kids would change it, but kids really didn't change it. And he talks about her lover and that her lover was sending her pictures of two people passionately kissing, and they had a trip planned to St. Martin's pretty soon after Eric would be murdered, and she at one point says to him, I want you like every day, all day. I want to be snuggling on the couch with you, watching a true crime murder documentary. So she was watching a lot of these documentaries, and you think she was probably saying, oh, she got caught right there because she didn't do this. She got caught over there because she didn't do that. She's very smug. She thinks she's better than everyone else, and that's what they said in their opening statement. She had to put out this persona of herself as being so successful at what she did, and she had bought this mansion that had been abandoned before it was even finished. And there had been, like, they said some graffiti on it. So she said, oh, gosh, we're going to get this huge mansion for so much less. And I'm going to flip this. And this is one of their celebrations. And he was out there spreading stone. And then her mother went out there. Did you read what I posted above about the defense attorney? Let me see what you said. Was used that picture window. thing the defense attorney did was use the picture widow or witch, and it's proven that folks remembers images, also the jury. The defense attorney used widow or witch? Or do you mean the prosecutor? Okay, so when we watch the body camera, they're working on Eric in the bedroom. They're trying to revive him, which is futile because he was cold to the touch when they got there, and they said he had been dead for some time. Right? So, we see KOURI. Now, the sister gives a different thing. She's like, oh, KOURI was all dressed up, and KOURI was in pajamas. She did have her hair up in a bun, and, oh, he showed a picture. Okay, I was moving around and listening, so, but she had her hair up in a bun, and I thought, looked a little like strange, but then some people told me they sleep in buns, so I don't know. The sister said something, but the sister, she said, oh, well, the way I looked, the sister, I don't know, she didn't look any so much different, so I don't buy that from what the sister was saying. And the sister was caught in some lies. She was. And we're going to talk about something else, okay? So, wait a second, all right? Just hold on for 1 minute. Where is my... she's got an assault on the sister. I'm going to tell you about that, too. Where the heck? Hold on, I've got to get over here too. Trying to get something. All right, let me just pull this up again, because this is what I want. I think so. I think that's mine. No, I don't think that was mine, but... Okay, so I want to... let me get this other one too, so that way we'll have them both. Yeah, this is the one. Okay, so let's see what we got here. Trial begins at 8:30 a.m. So like I said, if I'm streaming this tomorrow, it'll be 10:30 a.m. we're starting. If we don't have any delays for anything. But the judge, to me... people were going nuts about his voice being fire and stuff. They were already, I don't know, I think a lot of people that watch these trials, like, I don't know if they need some male attention or what's going on, but like they're all over the internet with stuff. Chief Prosecutor Brad Bloodworth made the opening statements. He began with a narrative about the day of March 3rd, 2022, the night that the prosecutors think that KOURI Richins fatally poisoned Eric Richins with that Moscow Mule that was laced with fentanyl. So he said that KOURI gave him a drink that night. Now, see, there's also, he says he drank it on the bed. And that is a story that was first going around that we heard. But then in the defense, we heard they drank it in the kitchen and the cups went in the sink, which was a big point of contention because the cops never looked in the sink for the cups. And the defense hammered him on that. So he notes that she unlocked her phone and moved about before she called 911, and he said that KOURI texted her boyfriend that evening. He begins to say that KOURI took out an insurance policy on Eric Richins' life before his death, and of course her attorneys objected. He said that he clarified the insurance policy is related to the charges of fraud and forgery, and he and the other prosecutors are expected to argue that Richins was in debt and in love with another man, both of which provided the motive for the murder. Eric Richins' estate was worth over $4 million when he died. He thinks KOURI Richins thought she'd inherit that because of that prenup I just showed you. If he dies, right? But he claims that she was chronically unhappy in her marriage. He details texts, planned vacations, and interactions with her new boyfriend, Robert Josh Grossman. I wonder if he's still with her. And then, said that was this is what happened. He thinks that she bought the fentanyl pills from a housekeeper that they had employed, Carmen Lauber, who got them from another street dealer. And after she bought pills the first time, she asked for something stronger. And they claim that she bought a sandwich from some restaurant 2 weeks prior to his death, Eric's death, and that she allegedly laced that sandwich with something. Eric said he was feeling really sick, but he didn't go to the hospital. He didn't go to the doctor. He didn't do anything, and she decided that she needed something stronger. Now, the notebook, that's orange notebook that you're hearing about, the defense wanted to get that out of there, but they got some pages in. I think 7 pages were admitted. He quotes from the notebook, it's expected to be introduced into evidence, that she allegedly wrote what happened the night and morning of March 3rd and 4th, and she appears to be discussing finding Eric dead in their home. Many of the text messages that the prosecutor is quoting, he says, have been deleted. He also brings up KOURI's phone searches, which he said says deal with how to permanently delete messages from an iPhone. I'm going to show you, hold on, something I've got right here. What tab am I on? Okay, here. Actually, I have it. Hold on, I have a Canva on this. Let me just pull this. Here, let me grab this. Okay, so make this a little larger. Here are some of her. Can cops uncover deleted messages iPhone? Can you delete everything off an old iPhone, her spelling, without actually having it? Can deleted text messages be retrieved from an iPhone? how to completely wipe a iPhone clear remotely, how to permanently delete information from an iPhone remotely. If someone is poisoned, what does it go down on their death certificate as? Can cops force you to do a lie detector test? Women, Utah prison. Luxury prisons for the rich in America. She must have loved the last name Richins, but then, I don't know, didn't... Okay, so those are her text messages there. And let me get back to where we were. Okay, so he introduced the jury, the prosecutor did, to the children's book that KOURI wrote about how to cope with grief after losing a parent, and it was entitled, Are You With Me? He says she wrote, published, and promoted it while knowing that an investigation into the death of her husband was underway. He believes the evidence will show that Eric Richins did not take his own life or die accidentally. He says that KOURI had means, motive, and opportunity to kill him, and he implores the jury to consider the evidence that shows no one else did. He left the jury with 3 memes assessed on KOURI Richins' phone the morning of March 4th. One is President Donald Trump saying, I'm really rich. I have those memes here. Hang on a minute. Hold on here. So these were on her phone. Let me just extract that. Oh, that's their house. Okay. And in this garage back here, okay, in the garage back there, they had these vehicles, and then they had lots of exotic animals. He went away. You see they have a giraffe. He went on safari and stuff. And then these are the memes. It says idiots, idiots everywhere. You see this, this I guess they said is from Dumb and Dumber with all the money. So yeah, and this was admitted into evidence, okay? And then it was Donald Trump saying, I'm rich. So yeah, that was in evidence. Now, let's see what else we've got here. Defense attorney Kathryn Nester gave the opening statements for the defense. She doesn't talk, but instead she played the 911 call that KOURI placed to Summit County dispatchers at 3:21 on March 4th. In it, KOURI is heard crying, it doesn't sound real, saying her husband is cold and not breathing. And she said those were sounds of a wife becoming a widow. She contends that Eric and KOURI were celebrating because KOURI was about to close the purchase of the Midway mansion. Richins planned to flip and sell it for millions more, at least $2 million, she said. Eric Richins was a stonemason. He was part of the plan, having spread gravel at the property to beautify it for open houses. She showed text messages of him proposing celebratory shots related to the real estate deal. But then KOURI said, oh, I can't tonight. Nester emphasizes how much money he was bringing into the marriage for both of them. She showed his income tax return showing $750,000. And she discusses Eric's hunting trips. He allegedly visited Mexico a few weeks before his death. And they both had come back from a trip, she said, in that body cam footage. And she said both Eric and Kouri loved their 3 kids. She directed the jury to a photo taken by the crime scene technicians. It shows an empty pain pill bottle in Kouri and Eric's room. She says it's hydrocodone, and it was prescribed to Eric, but it expired in 2016. She says that Eric had pain related to his work in the masonry and outdoor recreation, and she admits that Kouri bought pain pills from Carmen Lauber. The defense says she was seeking hydrocodone, not fentanyl. She said Nester says the state has never been able to determine how fentanyl made it into Eric Richins' system. Investigators searched the family home as recently as 2 weeks ago. She said glassware was left in the sink during initial searches of the home, so that a nanny was allowed and able to put cups through the dishwasher after Eric Richins died. People around Eric didn't know how he died at first. Some people talked about aneurysms, but the defense attorney said Eric Richins' family immediately started telling people that Kouri probably killed him, and they hired a private investigator who shared his findings with the police. Nester says the private investigator had access to Eric's computer before Summit County investigators did. Meanwhile, she says Kouri's story hasn't changed. She alleged that law enforcement listened in to Kouri's calls with family and friends in the year after Eric's death. She said the prosecution slides show Kouri's text messages amounted to entertainment and character assassination. She's urging the jury not to jump to conclusions. The defense does not think the evidence supports the Valentine's Day attempted murder charge either. The trial is scheduled to last 5 weeks. And then let me see, his father was the first one to testify. So his father, Gene Richins, they spoke about Eric, about his character, saying he was a good dad, son, and uncle. They spoke about the night he died, the night of March 3rd and early March 4th. His sister said she was the first family member to reach the house. She said Kouri and her mother, Lisa Darden, and the children and the first responders were already there. She thought Kouri seemed businesslike and put together despite the circumstances. But she was caught in a lie. She was caught in an absolute lie. She said that she looked at Kouri and Kouri just shook her head and didn't do anything. And then they showed the body cam footage and she had lied about things, okay? So her credibility is a little bit, and then just by watching the body cam, it's a little bit strange, a lot of things that are going on, and even Kouri says something like one of the kids is asleep and the two have their ears pressed against the door. That's so weird. Like those kids, they hear something happening with their father and they're just in the room with their ear pressed against the door. That's weird. Did she have the door locked? That's strange. Okay. She thought that, then they showed the body camera, okay? And then they showed Kouri consoling the sister. And she asked her, about why did she go out there and say that she's the trustee of the fund? And then she did ask the sister, what is going on? She said, and the sister said she's the trustee in charge of that fund. She has said it's for the Richins Children's College. And Kouri has filed separate litigation to fight for the control of the trust and the assets, which include the family home. Okay, and after that, then Katie Richins-Benson's husband, Clint Benson, took the stand. He spoke about his role controlling access to the family home after Eric's death. And that was a lot, like, just going on about it. Did he, because she kept saying, you have to ask my husband on that. You have to ask my husband on that. I don't know, he did that. Let me go over here. Hang on one sec. Now, here's something else I want to talk about the sister. Katie Richins-Benson said that she and her brother Eric were inseparable as kids and as adults, that they talked on the phone almost daily. She said that she and her family ran out of the house and went straight to her brother's house when she heard he wasn't breathing. She said that she repeatedly asked KOURI to go upstairs and tell her boys their dad was gone, but she did not until her boys saw their father being wheeled out of the home in a body bag. While KOURI was consoling a son, someone came in to talk to her about a closing schedule that day for a Midway mansion she was selling. And she was dumbfounded that KOURI was still planning to close the sale that day. She also testified that she was surprised the same morning when KOURI said she was planning to sell the home that she and Eric had lived in, and also presented a plan for continuing to run her husband's business and work on the Midway mansion. She said she had an overwhelming feeling that she should let an officer know that KOURI Richins had taken money from Eric Richins and that there was tension in their marriage. Okay. Okay, hang on, I'm going to go here for a second. So back to, I'll be jumping back and forth here. The prosecution said that KOURI delayed calling 911 for at least 15 minutes, okay? And they're saying that's because she had a guilty conscience. So they showed that she unlocked her phone and then called, right? And that she couldn't face her children or her father-in-law because he was on his way over right after the sister. And Eric's mother had died of, well, she had some kind of a condition with her lungs because of mold, and then I believe she got COVID, and apparently the father said when he was testifying that KOURI had said he died of the same thing his mom did. Okay, so one thing the prosecutor said, and I quote, Eric Richins did not kill himself or die accidentally. The evidence will prove that KOURI had the means, motive, and opportunity to murder Eric. So they think they have all the evidence. The defense thinks they don't have the evidence. Prosecutor said that KOURI needed the money, and the only way she was going to get it was if her husband died because of the prenup. She had to get a fresh start. And he shared messages sent to her boyfriend in the month before Eric's death. And some of them said, if he could just go away and you could just be here, life would be so perfect. She texted him about a crazy dream she had about that mansion, that Midway mansion, right? And she said to Grossman, they would use the house as an event center to make thousands of dollars a day. And she mentioned this other place down the road that had one, and they did it for $15,000, and they could do $15,000. Or she said, well, we can do $12,000 to be competitive. And then after Eric's death, she texted Grossman, I think I want you to be my husband one day. She also asked Grossman days after her husband's death if he had killed anyone while in Iraq, and asked, how did that make you feel? But he said her text messages from the 2 months leading up to her husband's death to 2 weeks after are all deleted. And after police seized the phone, he said she searched whether deleted messages can be recovered and if she could delete messages remotely. I showed you that, right? So defense critiques the crime scene investigation. This is where they're going to go hard, okay? They said the police didn't search for fentanyl. They didn't look at the glasses that were in the sink. They were unfinished. They were sitting in the sink. They never analyzed them, and then he put them in the dishwasher the next day. You know, he's going to say shoddy police work. That's what defense is saying. Eric sounded fine talking to his friend on the phone at 10 p.m. the night he died. The defense attorney said that Eric used drugs to manage his pain, and a few weeks before his death, he was in Mexico where he could have obtained fentanyl, she said. Near his bed, she said there was an empty bottle of pain pills that expired in 2016. She said that KOURI could have staged it to look like a drug overdose scene, but she did not. She told the truth. She said Eric Richins' family could not accept that and needed someone to blame. But that went too far and led to them paying a private investigator $100,000 to implicate KOURI. The investigators goes looking for skeletons in the closet, and boy, did he find some. She noted that those skeletons have now been turned into entertainment. She showed the jurors a drawing that, when viewed one way, appeared to depict a young woman in a fur coat, and when viewed another way, appears to depict a witch. There's going to be times when the state is going to discuss facts and certain witnesses, and they're going to show you the witch. And I'm going to take those same facts and those same witnesses, and I'm going to show you a widow. Eric's father said he was very, very proud of his son, about his work ethic. He said he got that call from KOURI saying his son wasn't breathing. He said he was helped onto the couch and told that his son was gone. He said he later got a call from KOURI, who said the medical examiner told her that he died from a fungus in his lungs, the same thing that his mother died of, and COVID-19. But he testified that the daughter then called the medical examiner, who said they had no results and they had not given any to KOURI. Let's see if we've got everything here. Let me see. Okay, let me get that. Hold on. This, let me get this. I want to show you this Midway mansion that they were buying. Okay. This. Okay, let me get this. This is what she was saying, that excuse me, she could live, well, she was telling the boyfriend that they could live here, raise some kids, and have some animals, and they could use this as an event space. This is the house that KOURI Richins wanted to flip. Her late husband, Eric, thought it was too expensive. It's a 20,000 square foot mansion on 8.75 acres, north of State Route 113. Let's see, I wonder if, well, we're going to take a look. It's got a 3,000 square foot guest house. The property was the source of the disagreement in Eric and KOURI's marriage. The couple was under contract at the time of Eric's death. It was going to cost them nearly $2 million, and Eric thought it was too expensive. 2 weeks after Eric died, Kouri put the home was back online with an asking price of $4.8 million, and then there was a buyer. So let's see what happened to this house in a second. If the buyer doesn't close, he doesn't know what the plan B will be. That would be good news for Kouri, who has retained not only a defense attorney but also a bankruptcy attorney. Neither attorney. Let's see. This is back in 2023. This was about this house. Let's see. Let's look up that address and see what happened to that house. Installed home under construction, up for sale. Let me see what we got here. I think this. Okay, this was before Kouri even bought this. This home was written about. Okay, let's see. And I'll tell you, let me move this over here. And it says, 2 large unfinished buildings sit off of State Run 13 near the Provo River. One is an 8-bedroom, 12-bathroom, 20,000 square foot mansion. The other is a 3,000 square foot carriage home. The project has been a topic of community interest. The construction started in 2017, but it came to a halt. And that was Department Building at Wasatch County Building Department Head Quinn Davis. The last time the county inspected new construction, there was more than 2 years ago. So the property is located at the southwest corner of Northfield, surrounded by open land. In fact, in some of this, you see some cows or something walking in front of this. Now, Michael Malmrose of Fathom Realty said the former owner lost interest while pursuing philanthropic initiatives in Guatemala and recently sold the property. Some of the work is documented. The new owner listed it Friday for nearly, this is Kouri, for nearly $5 million. Okay, so this is nearly $5 million. Interesting, isn't it? Hold on a minute. I have to check one date here. Eric Richins. He died March 4th of 2022. So, okay, this is after he died. She put it up for almost $5 million. Two of the bedrooms are designed like dormitories. The house sleeps up to 60 people. 60 people. 60 people. What are you going to be doing there with 60 freaking people sleeping there? Okay, so let's see if we can see where this house is now, what it looks like, if we can see that. Let's see. Okay. Says it's off the market. I go on realtor.com. It's off the market. It says we're not playing the real estate game. Not now. Let's see. You know, it's so funny. An expensive house like this, and they have particle board in here. Particle board and not real plywood. Isn't that amazing? That's crazy. They cut corners. Instead of putting real plywood, they put particle board. It's amazing. Cracks in the concrete. Gosh, that looks strange. There's a water problem there. And there's the house that her and her boyfriend were going to live in. Looks like the carriage house, this must be the carriage house, had some sheetrocking done, right? Still particle board, wow. So it looks like the vandalism, right? That they came in and smashed up some of the sheetrock, kids. Right? Looks like they spray painted the door. More. Okay, so that's the house. That she was going to buy. Maybe polygamists would be interested in the big house because they tend to have. The Mormons today are not polygamists, White Angel. They're a cult, but they're not polygamists. That's not. You have a question. What is it, B-Lady? In the trust set up for the event of Eric's death, it was to be used for KOURI and the 3 boys. Yeah, she would have... how many children do they have? 3 boys. Yeah, but then she asked for the Michael Jackson stuff, and you also don't know if fentanyl is put in stuff. Okay, that's how people die. That's how these kids on what was it, Snapchat? Like, wasn't it Dr. Laura's son? Got one pill of something he thought, and it was fentanyl. It killed him. One pill. That's all it takes. Hi, Brenda. You can't sleep without your hair in a bun? Okay, I'm hearing that. I've known women like that, nightmares. Yeah, she stole from his account. Sure, if you don't have permission to be, if your spouse, lady, has his own account, you just can't go in there and take his stuff. But if you're forging his name or something, or moving stuff around, or signing into his bank, and yeah, no, that's not acceptable, right? You can't do that. Okay. So let's go to, I want to look at this assault now. Remember, because I don't want to stay on too long, because I have to get some work done, to get the stream set up for tomorrow, so we can be here and watch the trial tomorrow. And I want to do that, so let's do that. We're gonna sign off maybe a little early tonight, and so I can get that work done. I've got to get some walnuts. Sorry. I need walnuts. I'm going to look at the assault now. Okay. Okay, so this is the state of Utah versus KOURI. The undersigned prosecutor states, on information and belief, that the defendant either directly or as a party committed the crimes of assault, Class B misdemeanor. At on or about March 6th in Summit County, state of Utah, the defendant did attempt with unlawful force or violence to inflict bodily injury on an individual, or commit an act with unlawful force or violence that caused bodily injury to an individual, or created a substantial risk of bodily injury to an individual. Furthermore, the defendant was a cohabitant with the victim. This information is based on evidence obtained from the following witnesses, and this, I believe, is on the sister. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about the assault. Hang on. Let me get some walnuts. Sorry, I need some walnuts. Hold on, I'm coming. I have to put my walnuts somewhere. Okay, hold on. Let's look at the assault. Okay. So, KOURI. What'd you do, KOURI? Let's get a picture of KOURI up there. Wow, you're too big, KOURI. Okay. This is back. KOURI punched her sister-in-law in the neck and face 2 days after Eric died. The attack stemmed from a dispute between the two women over control of Eric's estate. In a deal with the prosecutors, KOURI initially pled no contest to the Class B misdemeanor. And the Summit County Justice Court was prepared to dismiss charges if she began mental health counseling within 90 days of her plea. But May 13th, after she failed to show evidence she complied with the agreement, Justice Court Judge Brendan McCullough found KOURI guilty of the assault, and the crime carries a punishment of up to 6 months in jail. Separately, on May 15th, 3rd District Judge John Richard Mrazek could decide whether KOURI will stand trial on aggravated murder charges in connection with her husband's murder. Okay, this is back then. So she punched the sister-in-law in the neck and the face. And I remember this. Trying to see if we have. Okay, here we go. We also have to look up something about her mother, okay? Let's say this. In the months before her arrest, where's the... petition filed by Eric's sister, Katie, that's the one that testified, alleges KOURI had financial motives for killing her husband. As prosecutors say, she had open life insurance policies totaling nearly $2 million without his knowledge, and she mistakenly believed she would inherit his estate under terms of their prenuptial agreement. Court records indicate Eric Richins had consulted an attorney in October of 2020 to discuss the possibility of filing for divorce and to quietly cut his wife out of his will. Forensic accountant Brooke Carrington said transcripts from that meeting indicate Eric knew his wife was making major financial decisions without consulting him, but he never went through with ending the marriage. In May, KOURI Richins was found guilty on misdemeanor charges of assaulting her sister-in-law shortly after her husband's death. Amy Richins told the judge that KOURI had punched her in the face during an argument over access to her brother's safe. In addition to aggravated murder, assault, and drug charges, KOURI has been charged with mortgage fraud, forgery, and insurance fraud for allegedly forging loan applications and fraudulently claiming insurance benefits after her husband's death. So I'm sure we're going to be hearing from Amy. Okay, so And now I have a hold on a minute. Let me get the let me pull this over here for a minute. I need this. I'm going to tell you what was said on the body cam because it's hard to hear her in there, okay? Detective Wynn, the detective that was on the stand today, says, ma'am, do you want to come out here? What's your first name? She says, Kouri. Okay, blah, 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 blah. Then, let's get to the crux of this, okay? He says, okay. And when did you say we were fine? What time did you see him when he was alert? Kouri says, we had a drink together at 9 to celebrate something at work tomorrow. Okay, he says. She says, we went to bed. I went to bed with my kids. He went to bed in our bed. Detective Wynn said, what time did you guys go to bed? She says 9:30. He says 9:30, okay. She says, nods her head and says 9:45. He says, okay. And then what? What alerted you to him today, right now? She says, what? I just woke up. When I sleep with my kids, I'll just wake up and I'll go back to my own bed. He says. She says, and I just crawled over on his side, and Deputy Wynn says, and he was laying on his bed? She nods her head. He says, okay. She says, no, he was on his back on the bed, and he says, okay. Okay, and you say he was on his back, okay? Where are your children now, he says. She says, one's asleep in that room, and 2 are awake with their ear to the door. I don't want them to come out. Please don't make them come out. Now, I just don't know how these children are not coming out on their own, right? Unless she has... It's just weird, okay? They have their ear to the door. They're not saying anything. It's very strange. Does she have them sedated too? I don't know. Anyway, please don't make them come out. He says, now, where are the other 2 that are awake? She says, in the hallway bedroom. Where's that? She says, right there, the first one to your left. He says, okay. Is there any family members we can call now? She says, yeah, I need to call my mom. I need to call my mom so bad. He says, okay. She says, but I think I don't know. It says something inaudible on the phone. I don't know. He says, here, okay. She says, can I call my mom? He says, yep, I'll give you a phone right now. She said, I need to call his dad. He's going to be okay, right? Like I got in bed and then I just got, he said, the deputy says, yeah, they're doing their best. Okay, ma'am? Here, you can use my phone. And then there was a voicemail. Hi, this is Lisa. That's her mother. She calls again. Hi, this is Lisa. Voicemail again. She calls her mother again. Hi, this is Lisa. He says, where's your phone? I can go grab it for you. She says, it's just on the floor in there. He says, okay. Then he says, that's her phone. Grab her phone. She has to call some family members for them to come for the kids. Is this your phone? No, that's his. She says, mine's got a big red case. He says, will this phone work? And he hands her his. Yeah. And then she says, no, wait. No, that's not even his. I'm sorry. I don't know whose that is. It's probably one of the workers, right? And he says, oh, okay, let me go grab yours because that's probably won't answer mine. It's not theirs. She says, one should be on the floor from when she called 911. We couldn't find it. You can keep on using mine, he says. Then she says, Mom. Her mother says, yes. She says, come to my house, come to my house. What's going on? The mother says. I don't know. Something's wrong with Eric. The police and ambulance are here. I don't know what's happening. He wasn't breathing. I don't know. Who? The mother says. Eric. Where's he at? He's at my house, at my house. Can you come over here? The mother says, I'm on my way. Couri says, okay. Deputy Wynn says, I think my partner found your phone. Is this the right one? It's right here? Yes, she says. Okay. So your husband is Eric Eugene Richins? Yes, Couri says. Deputy Wynn says, okay. Couri says, but he wasn't something in order, just like I would like. Deputy Wynn says, does he have any medical conditions or anything like that? Couri says, well, he has Lyme disease. Deputy Wynn says, Lyme disease? Couri says, I mean nothing major like. Deputy Wynn says, okay, so no heart problems or anything like that. Couri says, no. He just said his chest was hurting when he went to bed, but that's, not. If he doesn't drink enough water, when he gets on the bike downstairs, I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. And then he said that he was really tired because he got his allergy shots yesterday morning. Deputy Wynn says, okay. Couri says, with my son, they would go, went to, I don't. Deputy Wynn said, and then what did you discover him? What time? Couri says, I got up. I got my phone and it was maybe 3. Deputy Wynn says, about 3. She says something that was inaudible. Deputy Wynn says, did you immediately call 911? Couri says, yeah. Well, I got up and, as soon as I turned over and he was cold. Deputy Wynn says, mm-hmm. Couri says, I just felt like something was wrong. So, I just put the blanket on him because I thought it would keep our room cold. So and then I sat there for a minute and I just didn't feel like his, breathing or anything. And so I turned the blanket on. Okay. And she says, it was like I said, Eric. And he just felt so heavy and, says the deputy. Couri says, deputy said, any COVID or anything like that? Couri says, we all just got over COVID. Deputy Wynn says, okay. Couri says, something inaudible. Deputy Wynn says, and when was that? A couple of weeks ago, says Couri. Deputy Wynn says, okay, so not recently? Couri says, well, he had a negative test. So I was the last to test positive, and then he had it. So his last negative test was a week ago. Okay, says Deputy Wynn, and ma'am, what's your name? Couri. I'm sorry, what was that? Couri Richins. Couri with a C. No, Couri, Kouri. Sometimes he'll eat a gummy before he goes to bed. Says Deputy Wynn. If he didn't, it didn't seem like he did, though. Deputy Wynn says, so like a gummy, as in like a THC gummy? Says Couri. Deputy says, okay. Couri says, yeah. Deputy says, and who is his primary care physician? She gives the name. He says, who? She gives the name again. How do you spell it? And goes through that, yada, yada, yada. And then deputy says, when was he last seen? Couri says he just had a physical, and everything was fine. When was that? Couri says 6 months, maybe. I need to call his dad. Can I call his dad? Deputy Wynn says, yep, you can call whoever you want. Couri starts making a phone call, and then you hear the dad answer, hello. Couri says, hey. The dad says, yeah. Couri says, something's happened to Eric. The father says, what happened? Couri says, I don't know. Something's wrong with Eric. Father says, why? Couri says, the paramedics are here right now. I don't know. I was sleeping with Ashton, and I came in the room, and he wasn't breathing. His father says, and he wasn't breathing? Couri says, yeah. The father says, do you have the ambulance there? Couri says, yeah, they're here. Father says, they're there? Couri says, yeah. Father says, where are they taking him? She says, nowhere right now. They're doing CPR. He says, oh my heavens. Okay. I'll be over in just a bit. Couri says, okay. He says, bye. She says something inaudible. The deputy says, hey, Couri, what's your phone number? She gives the phone number. And then Deputy Nguyen says, he's talking to somebody. He says, yeah, I need to go ask her. I've got to go ask her more questions. I'll be right back. She's got family here. Paramedic says, I'm pretty sure I threw my glasses in there somewhere. The deputy says, there's a pair of glasses all the way over by the bathroom on the floor. The paramedic says, yeah. Deputy Nguyen says, just right there on the floor, right by the blanket, on the other side, right by the basket. The paramedic says, okay, sorry, I can't see because I don't have them on. And then someone said, I was going to say, I can't even see. Then the paramedic, Margaret, who has lost the glasses, says, so her mom is here now? Deputy Nguyen says, okay, yeah. Then the paramedic, Margaret, says, so we'll go. Deputy Nguyen says, yeah, no. We're good. We're just waiting for our OME, and our detective to show up. Paramedic says, yeah, I'm wondering if he had an aneurysm or something with all the blood. Okay, says Deputy Nguyen. The paramedic says, that's what I mean. There was a lot of blood for some unknown reason. Deputy Nguyen says, were you the first on the scene? Paramedic Margaret says, we were second, but the fire guy was here before us. Deputy Nguyen said, and there was blood? Paramedic said, a little bit coming out. As soon as we started doing compressions with the Lucas is when the blood came out. So Deputy Nguyen says, okay, all right. Paramedic Margaret says, I don't know. Deputy Nguyen says, no pulse or anything? Paramedic Margaret says, no. Deputy Nguyen says, okay. Paramedic says, no, he was cold. I think he'd been dead a while. Not a long time, but he'd been dead a minute. He was at systole the whole time, so the deputy says, okay, all right. Margaret says, yep, bummer, pretty young. Nguyen says, yeah. Margaret says, maybe he took some gummies. Nguyen says, yeah, that's what she was saying. Margaret said, is that what she said? And then the hydrocodone? I think there was hydrocodone or something from... Somebody says it was. Margaret says 96 or something. 2016, says someone else. Margaret says 2016, yeah, pretty old. Deputy Nguyen said, did he take that? Margaret said, we don't know. It was. And then someone says it was sitting there, though. It's in the drawer there. Paramedic said, there's something. It is. What is this right here? Is that what he's taking for his Lyme disease? Yes, says Deputy Nguyen. Do you want to check? Turner just looked at it, said an unidentified male, and said it was filled in 2016. Margaret says, yeah, that one. Deputy Nguyen said it's under his name. The male speaker said, mm-hmm. Deputy Nguyen said, I think he sleeps on that side of the bed, though. Paramedic Margaret says, with what? Unidentified male says, I don't know. Paramedic Margaret says, that might be hers. Is it in his name? It's his. Oh, it's his, says Margaret, but it's empty, right? Yeah. I mean, we gave him Narcan. That would, who knows, probably go in there. Deputy Nguyen says, and when you arrived, he was already on the floor, right? Paramedic says, yeah, she had pulled him down on the floor. The fire guy said dispatch was coming. She was doing CPR, but the fire guy said she wasn't. So, okay, said Deputy Nguyen. Paramedic Margaret said, all right. Deputy Nguyen says, don't let anyone in here. Deputy Nguyen says, I need to ask her a couple of questions real quick. The mom? No, Couri, says Nguyen. Couri. I'm going to need to ask you some questions real quick, okay? Has he ever been in the military? She says no. No? Does he use tobacco? Couri says no. He says no. And what does he do for a living? Couri says he owns a stonemason company. Deputy Wynn says okay. And then when you discovered him, was he on the bed? Couri says yeah. Deputy Wynn says yes. Couri says he was just lying on his side like normal. Now, before she said he was lying on his back. So I hope you're catching this. Okay, says Deputy Wynn. Couri says, and I just thought he was cold just because it was cold in there, so I put the blanket on him. Yeah, says Wynn. Couri says, but his body just felt like heavy. And Deputy Wynn says, and which way was he facing? Which way was he facing towards? She says, no, he was just up, just facing up. Oh, so he was lying on his back? He was laying on his back, she says. Now she changed it again, right? Okay, says Wynn. Couri says, I just can't. Deputy Wynn says, and then, did you pull him to the ground? Couri says, yeah, that's what the lady on the phone told me to do. Okay, he says. Couri says, was to take the sheet and pull the sheet. Okay, to the ground, so I could do CPR, she says. Detective Wynn says, what's his highest level of education? Couri says he has a bachelor's degree. Okay, says Wynn. Then she says, my husband is active. He didn't just die in his sleep. This is insane. Deputy Wynn says, any mental health conditions? No, Couri said. No, says Wynn. Okay. No, says Couri. Wynn says, how about any suicidal? No, says Couri. History? No, okay? Never. No, says Couri. Has he ever been seen by a doctor in the last 30 days? No, says Couri. Okay, says Wynn. Okay, has any prescriptions been filled in the last 30 days? No. Has he had a history of falling or anything? Couri's not answering. He's just saying no. Any history of prescription abuse? There's no audible response. No, Wynn says. Couri says, I mean, when he was in high school and stuff, yeah, he took pain pills, I think. Now her mother starts talking, Lisa Darden. Maybe it was a reaction to his shots yesterday. Couri says, I mean, he said he didn't feel good from them, like. Lisa Darden, the mother, says, he didn't look good last night. Couri says, he looked pale last night. And I mean, if you were okay, and he said, yeah, but he was saying his chest was hurting. Detective Wynn said, does he have any history of illicit drug use or anything? And Couri says, no. Deputy Wynn says, past year? Couri says, no. Deputy Wynn says, no. Couri says, never. Deputy Wynn says, okay. Do you have the phone number to his doctor by any chance? Couri says, probably. Lisa Darden, Couri's mother, says, I don't know yet, Ronnie. We'll see you when you get here. Bye. Huh? Couri says, I don't know. It's just at the Park City Family Clinic, Family Hospital, or something. Deputy Wynn says, okay, I can look it up. Couri says, I'm sorry. Deputy says, no, that's all right. Lisa says, who told the boys? Someone said a cop told them. Why would you tell a child? Couri says, no, they shouldn't have told them. I asked everyone. Deputy Wynn says, oh. Couri says, not to tell them. The mother says, they all know. They told me. Couri says, how do they know? The mother, Lisa Darden, says, his name is redacted, told me a cop told me. Couri says, why would they have told them? Lisa Darden says, no, I wouldn't think. Deputy Wynn says, we were in there, so we were, maybe the fire department. Couri says, do they know? Lisa says, maybe yeah. Couri says, oh, my freaking gee. Oh, my, and she goes on, and I don't use the Lord's name like this, so she's just using it like crazy, okay? And then Lisa says, oh, my. Couri again, oh, my gee, That number just kept ringing this morning, and I'm like, Deputy Wynn says, yeah, because we couldn't find her phone. Lisa says, I thought somebody called from his cell phone, and then when you Googled it, Kouri says, she's still going, oh my gee. Lisa's saying, it says it's a spoof number. I'm like, what? I'm going to go up there, and these people. Kouri says, Mom, is the door closed to my room? Lisa says, yeah. Deputy Wynn says, yes, wee. Lisa says, they won't let the man. Is he still in there? Kouri says, yeah. Deputy Wynn says, I'll explain to you what the process is right now. But they didn't even tell. Wasn't she just saying when she was calling his father, is he going to be all right? Are they working on him? When did she find out he died? Huh? Isn't that interesting? Because he was in good health at his age and everything like that, okay, our medical examiner is going to come and do their investigation real quick, and then also our detective, just to make sure that everything's documented, correctly. And then from there, they'll explain to you what's going to happen, most likely. I'm thinking because he has no serious health problems or anything like that. Kouri's shaking her head. Deputy Wynn says his age. Most likely they're going to take his body to the... Kouri says, oh my gee. Medical examiner's office says Wynn, just to make sure there wasn't anything else. Lisa Darden says okay. Wynn says all right. Do you have any questions for me right now? Lisa Darden says no. We had allergy shots yesterday. Wynn says yeah, and that's what she was saying. Lisa Darden said he wasn't feeling good last night when I was here. What kind of allergy shots do you know, says Wynn? Kouri says, he gets weekly shots. Lisa Darden says, him and his boys get weekly shots. Kouri says, they were both just feeling, Wynn says, at like seasonal allergies. Kouri says, yeah. Deputy Wynn says, okay, seasonal. And where was it at? He goes to Park City, blah, 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 blah. They're getting it. Kouri said, this can't be happening. This can't be happening. This can't be happening. It's fine. Then Lisa said, I did. They're all watching TV. I said, you guys got to go back to sleep. It's 4 o'clock in the morning. Deputy Wynn says, Cameron's coming off. Cam, yeah, they're talking amongst themselves to go over there and let her into the Sally port to get the van keys. Okay. So leave this with you? Deputy Wynn says, yep. Okay, and all right, let's see here. Let me go to, there's an interview, hold on. Detective Woody had with Kouri April 13th of 2022. Detective Woody, remember we heard about him? He says, Kouri, she says, yes. He says, let me explain to you what's going on. This reminds me of the Chris Watts days when I used to read the interview transcripts before I showed the interviews on the channel. Let me explain to you what's going on. Kouri says, why didn't you just listen? Why didn't you just tell me to come? Detective Woody said, she said, I would have come. Detective Woody said, we did tell you to come. So hold on. Let me explain kind of why I wanted to ask you what I want to ask you, all right? So I've been calling the medical examiner's office all morning trying to get information, okay? So what I've got right now is I've got that Eric possibly died of a fentanyl overdose, okay? So that's where Kouri says, you can call Katie. He doesn't do drugs. Detective Woody says, no, well, this is what I'm trying to ask you about, because all of that stuff, that's why he wanted you to come meet with us to try to give us some information about what's going on, okay? Kouri says, yeah. Detective Woody says, so what we're doing, Corey says, he doesn't do drugs. Detective Woody says, we're going to go check the house. We want to make sure there's nothing there because this is super dangerous. It's dangerous for you. It's dangerous for your kids. Yeah, says Corey. Detective Woody says, that's why I want to know if you knew where it was. If it, anything like that, okay? Okay, says Corey. Detective Woody said, so, do you have the keys to your house with you? Corey says, Detective Woody said, is it locked? Corey says, it's not locked. No. Detective Woody said, it's not locked? Corey says, I don't keep my house locked. Detective Woody said, okay. Is anybody there? Corey says, oh, my nanny. My housekeeper. Detective Woody said, your housekeepers? Corey said, my mom, my brother, they're there. Detective Woody said, what about all your kids? Are they at school? Corey said, yeah, they're at school. Detective Woody said, okay. Corey said, my little one's in preschool. He gets out at noon. Detective Woody said, okay. Do you have your... Corey said, he doesn't do drugs. My husband doesn't do drugs. Detective Woody said, okay. Corey says, he does. He eats stupid edibles. He does edibles. Okay, says Woody. So the other thing with this is what we've got. It's an illicit drug, okay? So, which means you're going to have to get it from somewhere. You're going to have to get it from like the dark web. You're going to have to order it in. You're going to have to get it from somewhere, okay? So we're going to do a search for all the electronics. Do you have a home computer, a laptop, tablets? Does he have a work computer? Corey says, yeah. Cody took it, actually. Cody took it, says the detective. Okay. Corey says, she works for us, yeah. So she has it in her house now. Detective Woody says, oh, okay. Corey says, he has an iPad. Detective Woody says, an iPad? Corey says, I'd have to look for it. Detective Woody says, are they families or his, yours? No, they're work, says Corey. Detective Woody said, okay, they're his. That one is his? Detective Woody says, does he have an office that he works out of? Corey says, yeah, but Cody came and cleaned out the office. His business partner? Where's the office at? Is that at your house? Corey says, it's at my house. Detective Woody said, okay. Corey says, but they came and cleaned. They cleaned it out, so she has our work. She has all of our work stuff. Detective Woody says, is this... Corey says, Becky. Detective Woody says, Cody. Corey says, so her name is... Detective Woody said something inaudible. Corey says, no. Detective Woody says, okay. Corey says, so her name's Becky, and she works for our company. We hired her about a year ago, and she came in and cleaned out the entire office. So now I put my work office is new there, so Detective Woody said, okay. Corey said, so Cody came and took all the files and everything. So if it's an electronic you're looking for, Detective Woody said, okay. Corey said, Becky now has the... Detective Woody said, any kind of electronics, okay? So Corey said, there's an iPad. I don't think she took it. It's at my house. It would be, Detective Woody said, the other thing. Corey said something inaudible. Detective Woody said, it's kind of odd that there was nothing there that we saw, you know? I don't know if you were trying to help clean it up so he wouldn't get in trouble or this didn't get out. So we also have warrants for all electronics. So that's in case you ordered anything on the phone if you tried to keep us, Corey said, he doesn't do, Detective Woody said, from finding out any of this stuff. I don't know that. That's why we wanted to talk to you, is to find out where this came from. Corey says, yeah. Detective Woody said, so do you have a phone with you? Corey says, I have my phone, yeah. Is it in your pocket? Says Detective Woody. Corey says, we have phones. No, it's in my car. Detective Woody said, okay, so Corey says, I have a laptop. You have a laptop, says Woody. Corey says, I have a computer. Is that for your business? Is it for you? Corey says, yeah, it's for my company. Detective Woody says, okay. Corey says, did you go behind his gummies and stuff? Detective Woody said, that's what we're going to look for, all that stuff, to try to figure out what is going on. Corey says, I know all of where his stuff is. Okay, says Woody. Corey says, if that's what you're looking for. Woody says, where? Where's the gummies and stuff at? Corey says, so if you go in my bathroom, I haven't cleaned out any of his stuff. Everything is still in the same place where it was. His clothes, everything is still the same. She hasn't cleaned out any of his stuff. It's only been a few days. Then she says, but if you go, in my bathroom, there's a medicine cabinet above it, and he always kept everything like where the kids couldn't get them. So at the very top, there's, Detective Woody said, okay. Corey said, the top stuff. That's where he kept everything. Detective Woody said, okay, so we're going to go seize all the electronics for now until we figure out what's going on. Corey says, that's fine. Detective Woody says, I still do want to talk to you tomorrow because we're still. Corey says, well, I wanted to go today. Detective Woody said, okay. Corey said, I don't know. She kept just calling me. Okay, says Woody. Corey says, and telling me not to go. And I was like, I don't know why I can't go. Detective Woody said, I understand. Corey says, Detective Woody says, okay. So, we do still want to talk to you to figure out what's going on, okay? So you rack your brain, try to think of what you can think of, okay? Corey says, why would he do that? Like, my husband is not on drugs. Detective Woody said, and that's why we're going to try to figure out what's going on. Corey says, is it crack? Like, Detective Woody said, it's fentanyl. It's a pretty deadly drug. It's something that's not, it's becoming more common. It's not, Corey says, well, would he get high? Detective Woody said, it can come in different, Corey said, in person? Like he ran 8 miles that night. Detective Woody said, okay. Corey said, I just don't, Detective Woody said, so that's kind of where we're trying to go, is where did he get it from? Who did he get it from? Does anybody know? So right now, we're going to go search everything. You're welcome to go back to the home if you want. You can't go in until we're finished, but you can. Corey says, you can take it. Detective Woody said, you can do whatever you need. Do you want to come with me and grab your phone real quick? Is anybody else in the car with you? Corey says, no, just, Detective Woody says, okay. And you said all your kids are at school. Yeah. Grab the computer if that's what you want, she says. Okay, I'll go and knock on the door and ask her. Do you want to take it out of the case or not? Corey says, no, it's, Detective Woody said, stuff flying around. So like I said, we wanted to ask all you this before we tried to find all his stuff, but we can do that tomorrow as well. So think on it. Like I said, you're welcome to go back to the house, just not in it until we're finished. if you need to go make phone calls or whatever else you need to do. Kouri says, okay, all right. Do you want me to, how can I make phone calls if, Detective Woody said, yeah, I just meant like if you have friends or your mom's phone or whatever else. Can I just write down? Yes, says Detective Woody. Their numbers, is that? Detective Woody said, okay, all right. Yeah, that's fine. Can I just, Detective Woody, give you that? Detective Woody then says, and then he'll follow you back, and then you can do that, okay? Hold on. I've got the phone going here. And that was the end of that interview. So, let's see what's going on. And it's already 2:11. I can't believe it. And let me see where we are. Right here. So, that was the interview there. Hi, little lady. Little lady. All right, let's see what you've said since I'm there. Kouri punched the sister. Yes, she punched her in the face and in the neck. She's a sweet girl. She just needed a Snickers that morning. She's very sweet. Really, really sweet girl. Okay. I know that, Carolyn, did you say the Mormons were polygamists? No, not now. They're not polygamists now. Those are the fundamentalists. There's something else. They're like the big love people, the sister wife people. That's really frowned upon now, and that's why Cody had to run away with his wives, because it was, all that stuff. Okay, so that's not the Latter-day Saints. They're not doing polygamy anymore, according to them, but they're just a cult, okay, and you're not going to see anything in their temple. Okay, let's see. They're just a cult. Let me go around here and see what's going on. Testimony from the attorney said the fentanyl was not available from the lady's source. Okay. Sorry I didn't see you. I am busy crafting, making a 3D picture. Okay, so what do you think about Kouri Richins? Now I'm just going to do another poll real quick, because we did a poll last night. Now, some of you saw the trial, some of you heard some of the stuff I brought in now, and I just want to see what you think. Okay, there you go. Do you think Kouri Richins is guilty? What do I have here? Oh. I want to go through some of her emails. This is Kouri Richins, and she is writing to Chad Hoffmeyer and Frank Root, and she's CCing Jeff O'Driscoll, and this is April 19th, 2023. And she says, hey there, I thought I would clarify some items on your list that you spoke to someone about. That's a redacted name. The beginning of February last year, my kids had a soccer tournament in Mesquite. The day before we left, February 2nd, 2022, I tested positive for COVID. I have attached the picture of my test on my kitchen counter, on the counter in my kitchen from when I first found out, photo 1. I had sent it to my mom, and someone redacted, to let them know because I was around them both. Eric was the coach of the soccer team, and I'm the annoying mom on the sideline that never stops yelling. She has a smiley face. We don't miss games or tournaments. We're a huge soccer family. When we found out I had COVID, I didn't want to miss the soccer tournament, nor did I want to get my kids sick. So I stayed at Casablanca. I didn't want to risk getting my boys ill during the tournament and they not play well. I brought a box of at-home tests with me to test every day, so I could either join the boys staying at my father-in-law's or at least be with them during the game. Casablanca is about 5 minutes from the soccer field. Actually, here's a picture of the room number I stayed in. I had taken a picture for my mom and Eric. I was still positive every day. Pictures attached. I would take pictures of my test to Eric and to say, still positive. You can check Eric's phone for this. I stood on the sidelines wearing a mask and not interacting with anyone. Happy to get other soccer parents to attest to this. Eric had gotten COVID after we got home from Mesquite. You asked, redacted, about any exotic vacations I have taken since Eric's passing. I went on 2 trips last year. One, my kids tried out a soccer camp in Salt Lake City to qualify to play in Spain in June, and both my kids made it, so yes, I took them to Spain in October of 2022. I have attached their invitation letters. Also, Eric and I went to Mexico every year, sometimes twice. We traveled a lot. We have taken the boys to Mexico a few times. We liked to go in January. However, January of 2022, we did not go because Eric had a hunting trip to Mexico. Or for us to go out of the country or on a vacation with our kids. I took my kids and my mom came with us in August of 2022 to Mexico. As I hope you understand, the months prior to this, since Eric's death, have been hard to deal with. No, I have never been to Key West or the Keys in Florida. However, my nanny went with her family in June of 2022, so maybe you have something mixed up. Eric's affair was the same year I moved out. The trust was created as well as him looking into a divorce. I never actually moved out. I moved my clothes out one weekend to make Eric understand I'm not kidding about leaving him if he doesn't end things with redacted. I did this on a Thursday or Friday while he was out of town. I was home Monday. I never stayed another night at that other house. Eric and I figured things out like most couples do. Redacted was her name. He changed her name in his phone so I wouldn't know about it. And honestly, we worked things out. And after that, I never went through his phone again to see if he changed it back. But you have his phone and you can check. Eric and I went to redacted counseling in Camas, and we only went about 4 times. Maybe it wasn't for us. Surprised they didn't go to Jody Hildebrandt. Redacted and redacted are the same person, as I'm assuming you know that. Ha ha. I'm also assuming redacted told Woody her husband got a call from him and gave all this information, lol. Yet, he did never go in to talk to detectives. Ironic how these things work. Mental health? Yes, I got postpartum after my second child in 2014. Yes, I took medication for it. No, Eric and I did not have financial problems ever. Yes, Eric made more money than me. Do you make more money than your wives? Have I ever been financially reliant on Eric in the last 5 years? Absolutely not. Eric did not want me working because, 1, his first wife cheated on him with a guy at work. 2, redacted. That's all redacted. 3, Eric wanted us to live the typical conservative life where the man takes care of his family and the wife is the homemaker. Wife, mom, and that's it. That is not my personality and not the way I was raised. I am very independent. Even when I stayed home with my kids the first few years, I was in grad school for years because I wanted to be more and do more than be a homemaker. And I did. And when I did and started my business, it took some adjusting, but Eric and I were fine with it. We hired my nanny and everything worked out. My nanny, redacted, moved out because she was engaged and she and her fiancé were moving in together. That was always supposed to be temporary. She's worked full-time for Eric and I for years prior to his death. If anyone can tell you about our marriage, it's her. She lived it with us. Feel free to call her. Somebody redacted has already submitted her phone records to you to prove that your toll is incorrect. Redacted will also be submitting hers over to you guys today or tomorrow. I'm working on getting mine. However, Eric's business partner is not being cooperative, but you still can call Redacted and ask for them, and he would probably give them to you. I know what time I went to bed that night, so there's no hole in my story. Hopefully, by obtaining 4 phone record documentation, you guys can see this too. Happy to clarify or provide anything else you need. I just want this over. I just want our lives back and to move on and grieve and mourn my husband without looking over my shoulder constantly for you guys, or the idiotic private investigator or the Richins family. Whatever I can do to help close this out, just ask. I'll give you or tell you whatever you want to know. Please check with the lab on those gummies. P.S. Chad, I hear you also know our good friends, Redacted. Their son and my son play on the same soccer team. When Eric passed, Redacted took over coaching. You guys could even chat with them if you feel necessary. KOURI Richins. And then Chad said, he wrote back, "Thank you for the clarification, KOURI. I don't know that it matters either, but I appreciate the communication." And then KOURI wrote back, this is April 17th, 2023, "Hey, after you guys left Friday, I was trying to make sure dates were as accurate as possible, but I always feel like something was last year and it was actually several years ago. Anyway, you asked me when my doctor had prescribed K-tiapine. I believe I told you a few years before Eric passed. However, I emailed my doctor today to get a specific date, and this was her response. I don't even know if it matters for anything, but it was bothering me. Also, Eric's company was started in 2010, not 2012. I think I might have said 2012. That's when we got married. LOL. Again, none of this probably matters, but it was bothering me. Okay. And we've done the walk the dog letter, so we did that the other night. So I think that's pretty good for KOURI tonight going on. YouTube's acting up, Zigzag. What's happening? Am I buffering? No, I'm not buffering, am I? Okay, well, that's KOURI. We're going to go take a quick look at Nancy. Then we're going to play the word game. And then we're going to be hopefully live streaming the trial tomorrow, okay? I'm going to work on that before I go to bed, so we got to get going here, okay? So let's go back to Now people are saying the suspect on Nancy's camera is staged. Okay, I'm just telling you what's going on now. They're furious at the sheriffs giving the impression of power and control about the pictures being a different date. Okay, let's see. Somebody's going nuts trying to figure out stuff. Suspect's long gone by now, kicking it in Mexico, somebody said. Okay, so this is like so crazy, all of this. What's going on to... Somebody's showing what is that? I don't know what they're showing at a travel plaza. It's just getting so crazy. Everybody's going out and finding stuff, but nothing. Okay, so, all right, here you go. ABC News packed up and bolted for the airport, leaving behind tents, tables, chairs, and a pile of trash. So, they're gone. ABC News picked up, I guess, according to this, and it's gone. So now they said, very strange that news updates on Nancy Guthrie occurred every hour for over 2 weeks, but now updates are few. Isn't the timing of this odd? Occurred the day after reports of a raid on a home about 2 miles from Guthrie's home where a truck was confiscated and someone took their life. This one's still saying this. They're saying that's not true. Who knows? I think that it's over. Really, I think it's done. I think the news crews are pulling out. The major, let's see. Let me see here. Let's see. Someone said there's a YouTuber who has been live streaming nonstop outside her home for the last 2 weeks. He's pulling in $10K a week. He sits outside and points a camera and tells us every minute that Nancy is still missing. Those people hanging out at the Reiners are disgraceful too. So it's people hanging out at the Reiners. Let's see. I see we've moved on to the media covering media aspect of the story and promoting themselves on Reddit. I miss the days when this wasn't okay. Okay, I can tell you they generally post with our blessing. And we've had conversations with a couple of outlets, yada, yada, yada. Okay, let's see. There's quite literally is a roadblock now. Someone said, I was there last night. They turned the street into a one-way. There are only a few, maybe 3 to 4 cars being allowed to park on the street, and it's behind the barricades. It's not haunting, annoying. Yeah, definitely. It's for sure annoying the neighbors that were parked all around. It's for sure annoying for a lot of us covering it, because the only reason we're covering it is because it's getting clicks. There's no update. Just sit by the house just in case. It's for sure bizarre that they would just tape off the house, then untape it, then tape it again, then untape it. And now if the deputy doesn't see you, you can just walk right into the property. But the media circus isn't haunting, LOL. Yes, the streamers are annoying, but they have as much a right to be there as we do. I don't know what you mean by saying that sometimes the streets surrounding the house look normal. All the streets, except for the one the house is on, are completely devoid of any media. The entire neighborhood, other than Nancy Street specifically, is business as usual. And the neighbor, okay, rant over. Let's see. The guy who tried to use shrubbery to cover the camera is not a criminal genius. 1,000 to 1 odds that she's deceased and in some abandoned mine out there. I hate it for the family. Let's not forget, no one would give a shite if this was our mom. A friend from high school and his wife in the Tucson foothills, about 10 minutes away. She posted about looking for a hotel for the weekend to get away from the constant pressure of the media in the neighborhood. The disappearance of Nancy Guthrie, a crime that remains uncracked after more than 3 weeks, is the rare story that spans the breadth of tabloid gossip and buttoned-up newspaper reporting. So let's see here. They depart Tucson. I would think that by the end of the week, if there's no new updates, a lot of the news crews are going to be gone. I think you'll still have streamers there as long as they're getting views and clicks. I know some of the streamers were saying their audiences are getting less and less every day. I think people are moving on to other things, getting frustrated, getting Guthrie fatigue. What do you think? So, volunteers scour the desert for Nancy. Oh, and Linda told me that she watched the thing about that thing that looks like a pogo stick, and that woman, she's lost her husband and son. Now, I don't mean, does she mean they've gone missing? I'm not sure of the story. But she said that she takes that and she twists it into the ground, pulls it up and smells it for decomposition smell. Or to see if the ground is really soft or something. That's what she does with it. Now, I don't see much going on. So I'd say it's probably, if it stays this way, they're going to start pulling out. I think so. Let's see if Corey's, what he got on this. 94%. Now, that's more than yesterday, because yesterday was like 80-something. So we're going to be trying to remember to do it every day. The poll, because I'm trying to give you, how do I close the poll? Let me close the poll. Stop it. I want to unpin. I want to close the poll. End the poll. End the poll. There we go. So we'll keep tabs on that. And let me go over here. Hart, you've been missing from the word game. What have you been doing? We're going to play the word game. Good night, B-Lady. And going to play the word game. Tomorrow we're going to stream the trial, but I've got to get to bed, so we've got to play the word game. So I've got to get my thumbnail and everything up for the trial, and got to get her up. Spin. Okay, I'm going to do a few, and then, oh, this is a small one, so it's always Jen, always Jen. Okay, I'll stop. I'm going to stop that. And you guys get some words down, and then I'll come right in. I'm just getting my thumbnail while you get some words down. You guys can get your words down, and I'll come in and help you. I just have to get my picture here that I want to put my picture in. Hold on a minute, I need to grab something. I'll be right there. Okay, I'm coming. Where the heck are you guys? Here. Okay. Hold on. All right, begging. I got begin. Okay, Heart, good. Begin. She got begin. Right, begin at the beginning. Begging and egging. Okay, egging is good. Okay, and then egg. Okay, egg. Now what else have you got? Hold on. Can't see that. And I tried binge, it doesn't work. You would think it does, but it doesn't work. Your chat is not coming through to me. Gib, you say? No. I say gig, right? Oh, you got gig too, heart, okay. Okay, so we have one more here, 3 letters. I think it's nib. I think it's nib. It's just me and you playing. You can get the last one. See how my thumbnail is? Beige, you say? Probably. No, we don't have, you need 2 E's and we don't have them. Almost. Okay, let me just do this. Where are you? Where are you? Get out of here. Get out of here. File. Shoot. Can I go home? Just want to do one and two. Oh my goodness. Sorry, I just got to put my thumbnail in here and then I'm coming back. Okay. Let me save my thumbnail. Hold on, I just did my thumbnail. Okay. KOURI Richins. All right, let me come back. Let me come back. Did you get it? What are you please hitting your thumbs on the way out? We're not leaving yet. Why are you saying that? We're leaving. We're not leaving. Why is Hart saying we're leaving? We're not leaving yet. I have to finish my thumbnail. What did you get? Being? Hi, Binky. Being. Oh, being. Yeah, it's there. Very good. Now we got that one. We're going to play one more game, Hart. Stop throwing everybody out. Hart's throwing everyone out. Stop, Hart. Come on. You haven't been here the last 3 days, Hart. 2 days. We've been playing like mad people. Saying, where's Hart? Even Murder said, where's Hart? You ditched us. Now you want to ditch us now. Man. How about mainly? Mainly on the plane. And Maine. Some people were leaving. No, you've got to keep them in here. You've got to keep them in, Hart. Now stop. Just keep them in. That's your job. You should hear, I heard this one guy saying that what the mods' jobs were, that they had to go to all the Facebook groups and promote the videos. Isn't that crazy? And that was their job. Yam. I'm going to do yam. Many says heart. Annie says binky. Okay, Annie. Yeah, and many. What did you say, heart? Mary? Many. Many, you said. And then you said L-I. Extra word. And many we have. Put some down. I'm just going to look at my... I can't believe Scooter didn't come in earlier and do what she was going to do. Many, yep. You guys are still on many. Okay. Where is my title that I have here? I'm coming back. Hold on. I'm just trying to write this. Just trying to get my live, because we're going to live stream the thing tomorrow. Okay. I'm just trying to get this in. All right. Hold on a minute. I'll be right there. I just want to get all of this out of here. So we're done with Nancy Guthrie for tomorrow. For tomorrow in the daytime, unless some big breaking news comes through. But let me get this for tomorrow. We want to do Nancy Guthrie. Hold on, I'm coming. Just got my description. Description. Beautiful. Okay. Let me come back to you guys and see if you got the words here. Mail, inlay, mill. Okay. Mill goes in the extra words. Nil says pinky. All right. Nil is going in there. Mail says heart. Okay. Heart. All right. Let's see. Lym. Pinky. Nope. Nay says heart. Oops. Somebody said nail. Who said nail? Somebody said nail. Did anybody say nail? Let me see. You guys didn't say nail. I'm going to say nail. I say nail. You say I'm in? Nope. Who says inlay? Somebody said inlay. Heart? I think it was heart. Yep, that's in there. And then, oh, it's got to be aim. You got that heart. Okay, I see that there. And what's the last one? You did? Okay, got it. Inlay. Mania. Hi, Mac Watson. Mania. Let's try that. No, you know what? You're almost there, Mac Watson. Good try, but you need 2 A's, okay? Mainly? Oh, you say mainly? It's up on top, you guys. I did mainly up on top, girls. Oh, manly. Like Armando Wilder. Manly. Okay. Hey, Mac Watson. How you doing? Do you like live streams of trials? We're going to be doing KOURI Richins tomorrow. That's what I was just doing. I think there's ukulele, right? But I see live. This is I don't know if we got romaine or lettuce. Don't let us forget it. Don't let us forget we're lettuce. But line, I'm going to do a couple. Then I'm going to let you guys do some, and then I'm going to just finish my... Oh, you just found us, Mac Watson? You better bookmark us. You better subscribe and hit the bell for all notifications, because it's really great that you found us here. Okay, we're not just... We do a lot of stuff here. This is just how we end the true crime, but we're covering... Nancy, and we're covering KOURI Richins' trial and any breaking news on that, but we also do crafts and stuff like that and word games at the end of every night, so you're gonna like it here. Yen Spicky like says heart. Okay, I think, oh, I see one. I've got likely. Like, no, Lee, yeah, likely. I got it. Lean, says Binky. Oh, so I think it's this way. Here, let's see. Yep. You subscribed? Great, Mac Watson. We really like that. Luke is an extra word. Null, says Heart. Null and void. Kin. Very good, Mac Watson. You got it. Got your first word here tonight. Wonderful. Oh, you said Luke too, Heart. Okay, I didn't see that. Kiln, did someone say? Oh, you said kiln. I thought you said kin. So you're actually going to get 2 words there, Mac Watson. Well, you're one in the extra words there. Unlikely, says Heart. That sounds like it's going to be there. It's not going to be on top. Yeah, right on top. Ill, says Spink. Yep, that should be there. Yep. And what did you have? Nuke? All right. Let's see if it's there, Mac Watson. It's an extra word. You're getting a lot of extra words. Ken, says Heart. Okay, another extra word. Kelly, says Heart. Kelly. Okay, another extra word. Lie. We got that. We got both. Yep. Yell. Don't yell at me. There you go. Kin. We got that up there. Lil. Oh, I know one. Lily. And you want Lil. Oh, you were doing Lily? And you made a mistake. Okay, well. I think elk. Elk is not there. That's not right. I really thought it was. How about ink? What do you have? Lunk? What about link? Hi, Philip. Philip says Yule. Good to see you, Philip. Come on in. We're going to be live streaming KOURI Richins' trial tomorrow. You can come chat with us in here without the riffraff. Link, Lunk, Yule. No, I put both on purpose. Oh, okay. Well, I didn't see that. Okay. Never mind then. Linky. Unlike says, oh, very good there, Watson. You're really, why, Watson? You've got it. Why, bye, Watson. Really doing good. Did you ever play this game before? Don't let us forget where it led us. Yen, I think I tried that. Yeah, it's extra word. Extra word, it says. I'll let you get some words here for a second. I just have to put my tags in. Hang on. Put some tags in here. Okay. I'll be right there. Okay, I'm coming back. Just have to put this in. Just keep going. I'll go in order when I come back, and whoever got what, you will see. That way. Okay, let me just get some of these out of here. This doesn't belong there. That doesn't belong there. Okay. I will do one other thing. Fix my playlist. Okay, hold on. I just got to put this for, when did I tell you guys this is? It's going to happen at 8:30 in the morning, right? All right, let me just put this here. 8:30, that's tomorrow morning, not 8, but it's going to be 10:30 my time. Hold on, let me just put 10:30. 10:30 a.m. There we go. Now it's done. Okay. Now I can come back and pay attention because the only thing I have to do is put in the pin question and redo the playlist. Okay. I'm back now. Okay, I'm going to go back in order, so don't worry, you're going to get credit for what you had. Philip said Yule, I got that. Unlike, Philip said, I play word games, great. Okay, so we got Kiln in here, right? Yeah, but it was, let me see, that one in the extra words there. Okay. Hart said no. Let's see, no. Okay, that's there. Nil, I think we have it. No, I think I thought you said that before. Let me see. Yep, a one in the extra words. Key, says Hart. Okay, hold on. Okay, that's in there. And then lichen, Hart, lichen. Okay, and let's see. Philip said key. I'm sorry, Philip said key. Philip gets key. You got key, Philip. Okay, let's give Philip key because he's new here. Line is already there, Philip, but in lieu. Okay, that goes to Hart. Okay, loon, she says. All right, and then lichen we got up there. Liney, you said? Liney. Okay, extra word. Yule, you say U-L-E, Phil, Mac Watson. Okay, let's see. Elk, I tried elk, Mac Watson, watch. Thought it was there. They said extra word. Kelly, you said it wasn't there. It went inky. Inky. Okay, inky is there. That's Hart. I think I said ink. No, I said linky. Okay, yike. Says Bink, yike. Let's see. No, not there. Unlike, let's see. All right, let's see if you guys have to catch up here now. We got a few more words. How about, lie. How about no? Nil? Nil. I think somebody said that. Somebody might have said that and we might have missed it. Line. Lunk. Yeah, lunk is up there, isn't it? I think lunk we tried. It was an extra word. Yeah, extra word. This was a hard one, it said. No, it didn't say hard. Okay. Ilk, I got it. Hi, Anthony. How you doing? Okay. What, hard? I tried that one. Now we just got this one. Live streaming the trial tomorrow. Nile. Okay, McWatson. Inley. Let's try that. Extra word. Kind. Okay. I'm going to leave you for 1 minute while I just go put in the pinned question in the chat for tomorrow. Hang on. Let me just do that. Okay, and I've got to do this. And then I just want to go and fix up my playlist. Let's see, content in the playlist. I'll be right there, guys. KOURI Richins, here we go. KOURI Richins. All right, let's get this. Then I'll be finished and I'll be able to concentrate. Okay, back, where are you? Back. Hold on, I'm almost done with this. I just want to finish this playlist. Hold on. Sorry. Don't be angry with me. I'm almost done. Windy outside. Okay, save that. Hold on a sec. All right, save that. 1 second, I just forgot to do my tags, and then I'm done. Then I'll do my sharing out when I get off of here. Oh my goodness, hold on a second. Shoot. Oh no, what just happened here? Oh, phew. That was scary. Stop. Oh my gosh, this is so bad. Okay, hold on a minute. Just want to make sure this is right. All right, let me do one other thing. English. Got you. All right, now I'm coming back. Sorry about that. I had to get this done because All right, let's see. Did you get it? What happened? What's going on? I leave you for a minute. Did my kill show up? No, is that what it is? Okay, got you. Okay, another moderator handled it. What happened? Oh, okay. The word was blocked. Oh, that's all right. Yeah, it happens sometimes. All right, well, let's see. I'm going to go finish getting that set up for tomorrow. So come back and see us at 10:30. Go to bed now so you don't sleep in. And come back and we'll do the trial, okay? Let's see. Let me just get these. All right, we're done. See you tomorrow, guys. I love you. God bless. Prayers. May the Lord bless you and protect you and give you his peace. And be safe, well. Prayers for all of those that need, all of us that need them. We all need them. I love you guys and have a good night. Thanks for hanging.